This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Past you. One, and this is wait a minute, breaking. The Chiefs are trading a conditional 3rd and 6th round picks to the Giants for wide receiver Kadarius Toney. Wow. That's a nice move for the Chiefs, dude. I like Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, that's
He's
a guy.
got
Hold on.
skills.
Hold on 1 second. Let me try to get my AirPods.
I like Kadarius Toney. All right, here we go.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get my AirPods situated so you can hear me better.
Marcel, check your phone.
You got me?
I got you.
Yeah, no, I think Kadarius Toney, 1st round pick a year ago, did not work out with the Giants. Like, it seemed like every time he was ready to play, they had an issue with him injury-wise, his hamstring or something of sorts. And so, the Chiefs still trying to replace Tyreek Hill. They've been doing it sort of a committee route with Juju, with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, their 1st round pick. I think Kadarius Toney
they don't have a 1, bro. Just say it. There's no 1 there.
Exactly. Essentially a bunch of 2s and 3s. And so they're taking a shot here. I like it for the Chiefs. If Toney can stay healthy, he's the most explosive receiver on their roster.
Yeah, he's a good player, dude. If he stays healthy, I know he had the injuries, but he can ball, dude. He can ball. I like him. I was a fan of his coming out of the draft. All right, so 2 things as my detective sleuth has started here. 1, let's have some fun on the Aaron Rodgers side.
Okay.
People are like, oh, you shouldn't go on a show and rip the team. And somebody, oh, well, you got to motivate them, this and that. This isn't the storyline for me. This is Aaron Rodgers being a volcano that you have screwed for years and years and years, not getting him the weapons. And he's leaving at the end of the year. He's retiring. So he's done with you, bro. And you did this again to him. And so now he's going out the door and he's going to light the place on fire on his way out, and he doesn't care. That's what we're seeing, right?
I don't think it's that. I don't. I think that you're looking at a situation where Aaron Rodgers can certainly be passive-aggressive with his comments. And his comments, to me, are speaking to Matt LaFleur, his head coach, directly, and saying, we've got guys out here who are not running the right routes, who are not knowing what they're supposed to be doing. These guys shouldn't be playing. And so I think he's trying to tell his coach that maybe his coach needs to step up and be a little bit more demanding, or don't play these guys. I think that it's been Aaron Rodgers wants to run the Aaron Rodgers scheme, right? And so if you've listened to Aaron Rodgers talk on the Pat McAfee show or otherwise, he told you how much he hates motion, which is funny because we all consider motion, pre-snap motion, and all this movement to be something that's good for an offense. It's a new age, right? Mike McDaniel motions more than any other team.
It happened it happened in the 60s, motion.
Right.
Okay, that's where it started. Do you remember the Dallas Cowboys that they stand up and go back down?
Yes.
You remember that? Do you know why they did that?
Do you know why? I do not.
Okay, so when you're standing as a linebacker, and then all of a sudden the offensive line stands and goes back down, when they stand, people started running in the backfield. And so when they came back down, the linebacker's like, oh, shit, my guy went out to the flats. And now I'm a half a second behind. Snap, boom. So motion started with Landry, with the Chargers guy, Sam. I'm forgetting. Gilmore, Sid Gilmore, and Hank Stram for Kansas City.
Right.
Those are the people that started motion.
Right. So I guess
new. So it's crazy.
My point maybe isn't that it was new. That's probably a bad term. My point is the frequency that they're using it is sort of a new wave thing. And to me, Like McDaniel runs motion, pre-snap motion on 80% of his snaps. That's most in the league, right?
Yep.
And so you're seeing a lot of these guys that come from that Shanahan scheme running motion 3/4 or more of their snaps. And you see a lot of the old school schemes, like the one that Aaron Rodgers likes to run. They run motion maybe 5% of the time, 10% of the time. Like they run it, but it's very infrequent. And so Aaron Rodgers is saying that, hey, we want to simplify things. We want to make it easy. We want guys who know what they're doing. That's his way of saying, I want less of the motion of the confusion stuff that a lot of these new coaches are doing, and I want more of the let's just have two receivers standing in the same spot. And so I don't agree with that, but that's what I think he's trying to send across to his staff, and maybe he thinks that's what'll fix the offense. I think that, like we're seeing with a lot of these quarterbacks, you got Aaron Rodgers who's getting a little older, whose skills are deteriorating a little bit, and he has a receiver crew that's not very good. And I think as a compilation of both of those things, that is causing the Packers to look as poor as they have.
By the way, they're saying on the chat board that your kid is not a big Kadarius Toney fan. That's why the crying was, oh, we lost him already. By the way, the chat board is saying that your child is not a big Kadarius Toney fan. That's why she was crying. And
yeah, she's not a Kadarius Toney fan. She's not a Cam fan right now because we're taking her home to go take a nap. So she wants to play more. So she's not a fan of much right now.
They always want to play. Yeah. Is your kid the kind that wakes up really early?
Yes, very much so.
Oh,
very much so.
You know what the trick to that was, right? You have to keep them up late as hell, tire them out, and then they stay in bed a little longer.
We gotta work on it. We gotta work on it.
Yeah,
we gotta work on it. Yeah, she's early riser.
Even though they're breaking down, by 7:00 at night. You just got to screw around with them a little bit more, keep them going to like 9, and then all of a sudden you put them in bed and you're sleeping till 9. And you're like, that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying.
I'll take to 8. I don't even need to 9. Just give me the 8.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. All right, so I was looking at this. So Byron Jones ended up having surgery late.
Mm-hmm.
So now he is late on his return.
Right.
And I heard from somebody, I don't consider him a source, but they do have a connection inside the team. That I know for a fact. But I've never used this person as a source. And they're telling me that Byron is not Will Fuller, but he's very particular about how he returns and that he needs to be at 100% or close to it, this, that. And then we heard the comments from the coach the other day that, hey, basically our medical staff has done everything that they can, right? I'm kind of paraphrasing, right? You know what I'm talking about. The comment I'm talking about from McDaniel, right?
Yep.
I have come to the conclusion that Byron Jones knows he's going to get released in the offseason because this is the window to get out, a $14 million cap hit. And I think Byron Jones is more worried about being healthy for the offseason. And so when he comes back, he wants to make sure he's 100% where he's not putting himself at risk, that he can be as healthy as possible for the offseason to work out for other teams. And, I was just talking with Poupart about this. He likes my theory. He thinks that kind of makes sense now. And this is the way it's kind of shaping out, and it's kind of looking to me, my man. You tell me. What do you think?
Yes. I mean, I can't speak to that because, I don't know Byron Jones' intentions. I would think that based on what I know, he's not, if he could play, he would try to play. Now, I will say to your point, there are players who are very particular on how they want to feel before they're out there to return. There are guys who will play at 60, 70%, or guys who will play coming off injuries that may not be mentally ready. Yeah, Xavier Howard's been doing that all season. Teron Armstead with his toe, he's been dealing with. And so there were guys who did, and there were guys who say, hey, I want to be close to myself because right or wrong, you're going to be judged on how you play. So if you're playing 70% and you're still playing terrible, people are going to say you're playing terrible. They're not going to say, well, he's not. No, they're going to judge you on how you're playing. So there's some players who are that way, and I understand it. Of course, fans are going to lean more to the guys who will play through toughness and play through hurt. But there are guys on the other end of it. I think from the Byron Jones perspective, I think I mentioned this to you before. I think there have been things that have happened in his rehab with other parts of his body that have slowed down his recovery, from what I understand. So it's, maybe not all his Achilles that is causing that. That being said, this is definitely gone much slower. Like when I was told about the initial surgery,
Yeah.
the plan was
It's
to
not
have
a,
him
it's not a
back.
Will Fuller thing. I want to keep
Right,
repeating this. It's
right,
not a Will Fuller thing. It's
right.
it's a thing that he is particular about this, that he needs to be at a certain area for him to play, is what I'm told. You know?
Right. And so like I mentioned before, I think that when I first because I reported the story first that he was having the surgery in March, and I was told July training camp he should be back. And here we are in middle of November, 4 months after that expected time. And so this has been not only like a minor setback, this has been major. Like
Big
four
time.
months different, 4 months difference than what you anticipated. That's different. Like if I sprain my ankle and I say I'm going to be back next week and I'm not back until 2 weeks, okay, things happen. Your recovery goes a little slower, but 4 months, that's something significant difference has happened. And like I said, I think the team has to prepare as if Byron Jones won't come back this year.
Yeah, and
Get him
it's like
back, get luxury.
by the way, it's like Poupart said, that teams sometimes, they plan ahead and make moves without the player, and they cut players, and they have to do what they have to do at times. And players sometimes also have to make business decisions. And with this dragging out, to me, it just becomes a business decision now for the offseason, that he and his agent have to look at each other and say, well, hey, man, let's
Right.
make sure we're ready for the offseason, because we know there's a bridge to cross in the offseason, and the Dolphins may look to, cut ties from you in the offseason, that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying, hey,
Yeah.
listen,
And
I'll give you,
I
and
mean,
I'll give
the
you a little
reality
thing.
is,
What if you trade for Greedy Williams? Then you for sure are releasing Byron Jones in the offseason.
I'd be okay with that.
No,
I'd be okay with that.
but
I
that's
mean,
my
I
point.
think the
That's my
reality,
point.
I think the reality, gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think they got to look at trading for a corner or safety regardless. I think the reality is Byron Jones was going to be a potential casualty regardless. Like, even if this injury didn't come out this way, he's in year 4 of a deal where his cap number is going to go up big. And there's only a certain amount of time that you can pay 2 top corners. Xavier Howard's cap number is going to rise quite a bit this year. And then you got Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead. So I think that even if Byron comes back and play, or even if he did, I think that he was going to be a potential cap casualty. And so I guess to your point that maybe he's doing this to get to for the offseason. The only issue I have with that is, what better way to help your stock as far as getting a new contract than to show that you are playing and can be healthy versus missing an entire season.
Well, no, that's my point, Cam. That
Yeah.
he's going to come back, but I think he's going to try to come back for a couple games or something to showcase, that help the team showcase, but he is unwilling to come back at 80 or 85, because then if he suffers a setback, it's a setback that
Right.
goes into the offseason. So
I
he's
got you.
not willing
Yeah.
to do what Teron Armstead and these guys. That's what I'm told. I'm told that it's like he needs to get closer to 100, and then I'm trying to figure out why. And now I put one and one together with the offseason stuff, and it really makes all the sense in the world that he would be protecting his ass, because teams don't care about players anyways. So players
Right.
have got to look out for themselves. I totally it sucks, but I totally understand what they're trying to do. But that's why I kind of put this whole thing together, that
Yeah.
maybe he's making a business decision right now, not a Dolphin decision.
Right. There are guys who make business decisions all the time, on the field and off the field. And so,
Amen.
like I said, I can't speak specifics to that, but, it wouldn't shock me if any guy's making a business call, long term for their career. Like you said, Teron Armstead's dealing with a toe, but he got his guaranteed money, and he's going to be here at least for the next couple of years. Same for Xavier Howard. Byron Jones, the case is, probably not the same.
Right. Yep. I'm with you there. What'd you think of Tua's comments yesterday that, it's a competition. It's a weird thing. It's a competition thing. It's just he's going to be who he is, right? Unfortunately, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I didn't. Obviously, I didn't like what he said. I'd rather him slide, but I think it's exactly what you and I were talking about after the game. I think it's a toughness mindset. He talks about the weird competitive thing. I think it's in his mind, It's a toughness element of football that I've got to prove to my teammates or prove to myself or prove to everyone else that I can take these hits. I can go get the first down. I'm not going to slide a yard short. I can take these hits. And so I think that's honestly in his mind. And maybe there's nothing you can do to get it out. I would love for him to do that because I wince every time I see him take one of those hits. And I was listening to Dan Lebertard talk about this the other day. Like, how long does that last, right? How long are you gonna, are you always gonna wince when Tua takes a hit? I don't know, but at least right now, coming off the concussion 3.5 weeks ago, yeah, if Tua takes a hit or lower his shoulder, I'm gonna wince. This is your starting quarterback. This is a guy who has a huge impact on your team. And you need him. And so any hit that he takes, that he could be out for a month or however long. And so, yeah, I would rather him slide than go get the extra yard or two. I think his teammates would want the same. They admire the fact that he's willing to put it all on the line on him. But I think there's maybe very few situations. Maybe if you're playing in the playoffs and this is a situation where this is the final drive and then maybe there's a selective situation there. But in the third quarter of a Week 7 preseason game against the Steelers that you're up, I don't think that's a time to potentially risk, missing significant action by making a decision. So there are people who are going to say, hey, that's a soft mindset. It's football. Look, I grew up playing football. I know the toughness aspect. I love big hits more than anybody else. I just don't want my quarterback taking them, especially one who has shown that staying healthy has not been his number one forte at this point of his career. So I will say that Tua is a bigger guy than most people give him credit for. He's 215, 220, so he's not like
no. You're a liar. Pro Football Talk says he's 198 pounds. Okay.
No. He's got size on him.
She even knows it's a lie. She even knows it's a lie.
Right. So he's got some size on him, but still, I do not want my quarterback taking those hits. Heck, even if I had Josh Allen, I would tell him to slide on certain situations when he takes contact. I just think that is not conducive for the longevity of your career. And so that's just my opinion. But obviously, Tua, like you said, it's gonna, he's gonna have it in his mind slide. But if it comes down to it, clearly he's gonna do what he does.
By the way, big ass Josh Allen, I fear for him too. Just like Lamar Jackson, I fear for those kind of guys.
Because
they're going
to
they broke Cam Newton. They break. Tim Tebow was thick as hell. His final game with the Jets, broken ribs, punctured lung, bro.
Right.
And he was a thick ass wall. They'll break anybody in half, dude. So yeah, I'm with you. Josh Allen is headed for hell. The way he's playing, he's got to stop himself. Forget Tua, even Josh Allen, who could take the beating. I think it's stupid all the hits he takes. I think it's stupid that the Bills call a lot of runs for him. How about that?
Yeah, I think it obviously makes their offense more dynamic, but my point is that not that you can't ever run, that Tua can't ever run, that Josh Allen can't ever run. I think that there's selective times, and there are times when you're trying to fight for an extra yard or two and take a big hit where sliding would have been okay. 8 yards on a play is just as fine as 10. If you're in the Super Bowl and you've got to dive for a touchdown to win the game, then yes, all means go make that play. But that's the difference between making 1 or 2 plays or 5 plays versus doing it 20 times or 50 times, or Tua did it 2 times in 2 drives in a relatively tame Week 7 game against the Steelers, and didn't get the first down either time, by the way. So it's not like it worked out.
You want young Russell Wilson. That's what you want. The guy that will run and slide and smart and stay away from hits constantly, but he'll run because he had no choice at the end, and he's got 5-7 yards of open field. He takes it, he slides, and then he hands the ball off to the referee. That's what you want. You want Russell Wilson intelligence in running.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Cam Newton. Cam Newton was career just sort of hit the downfall when he was 31 years old. You're seeing a lot of these quarterbacks play into their 40s. You only play to your 40s with longevity. You don't see Tom Brady taking these hits. You don't see Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers taking these hits. That's why they
with Cam, I don't blame him because he had to do that in his game. Whereas Russell Wilson and Josh Allen, can stay in the pocket and beat you with their
yes,
arms because
right,
they're pure passers. You know what I mean? Whereas I
right.
don't see Cam as a pure passer. I don't see Lamar Jackson as a pure passer. I don't even see Ryan Tannehill as a pure passer. You know what I mean? I still think those guys are kind of athletes that still they pass the ball, but they're not real. Like Kyler Murray is a quarterback who brings the athleticism to the position, but he is a pure passer. He will
Right,
run when he has to
right,
run, but he is a
right,
passer at heart. You know what I'm saying? And to me,
right.
that's if you're a passer at heart, then bro, you can always lean to your arm in the end.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
running game should be your last ditch thing that you do. That's the way I look at it.
Like I said, I think it's selective, and I think that that's the key. Not making the crutch, making it selective, and be smart when it's selective. You obviously know that I disagree with you on Lamar Jackson. I do think that he's good enough to be a passer in the pocket. But if you watch Lamar's skill set is he very rarely takes big hits because he's selective on when he goes down and when he's going out of bounds.
He's
So he will get every
fast.
single yard that he can, and then he will get down or he will get out of
He's too
bounds. So
fast.
his speed is an equalizer. It makes a difference, right? But still, you still don't see him if he's getting 42 yards and the end zone's at 45. You don't see him lowering the shoulder,
Yeah, but
going over the
he has the
linebacker.
lateral
You know?
movement of Barry Sanders and Warwick Dunn. He has
Yeah,
that skill set that not only does he run north and south fast, but he'll
right,
change directions on your ass and you'll miss him. And it's things that's
right,
why you never really got a clean shot on Warwick Dunn and Barry Sanders. You could not. It
right,
was just the highlights that you see of people getting clean shots on Barry and Warwick were rare. There weren't a lot of them
right,
because they didn't
right.
allow you, and they played running back, which is, and that's where Lamar has that gift. He has
That's a
that
skill.
gift, bro.
That's absolutely a skill. Just like
Yeah.
availability is a skill, elusive
Oh,
ability is a skill as well.
nobody's ever looked like that. All right, wrap it up. What's the prediction? Don't go depressing the Dolphin land now. Go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, I must say that Dolphins fans tend to always mention me on social media when Colleen Wolfe makes picks and it's Sea Wolf, and they say, "Cam,
Oh,
you picked Detroit this week." It is not me. It's a PSA. I do not make picks for us, but I do think that Miami gets this one. I think that the offense torches the Lions defense that is not very good, no matter what Tua and their coaches try to sell us. It's not a very good Lions defense. And so I think they put up 30 points for the second time this season. Give me 31-21 Dolphins.
see, he don't make picks for them, but he makes picks for us. That's how it goes. Follow him on
Yeah.
Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. He's a happy daddy today. Cam,
Yes,
appreciate
indeed.
you, my brother. Enjoy the week and be
Absolutely. Have a
safe.
good one. Yes.
You got it. There we go. The Wolf Pack has been unleashed.